Hi, everybody.
Hi, welcome to our first
I'm having a little bit of difficulty hearing people right now. 1 second.
with everyone. Okay. As you're logging on, please let us know where you're logging on from. Thank you for everyone's patience. The host server went down last week, 3 years of shows, and that's never happened. Our host has resolved the issue, and we're back this week. Thank you to our guest today for also rescheduling with us. Hi, everyone. Michelle's here. Can you hear us,
I'm
Michelle?
here. I can hear us now. I can hear us. I can see us. I'm here.
Yay!
We're good. We're in. It just needed a
Okay.
minute, I think. I have
Okay.
no idea where we're
Good
at. But
job.
hi, I'm Michelle.
Okay. Okay. This is our first show after many years. We may be a little rusty. Same concept, same faces, new name, and same shenanigans. Michelle, and I want to personally thank you for joining this webcast. Whether you are a patient, parent, or support person, if you're here, you care about this disease and want to learn more and make a difference. So, thank you. We encourage you to tag someone and commenting. Ensure you are logged into the YouTube or Facebook account.
During the presentation today, you're going to have an opportunity to join a live poll. This information you're providing will directly impact the consensus and what is included in it. It's important to let your voice be heard, and the doctors have asked for patient and caregiver notes. Today, we're going to have Dr. Jane Koo on. She is from Cincinatti Childrens Hospital. Dr. Koo specializes in bone marrow transplantation and immune deficiency disorders. Let's welcome Dr. Koo.
Thank you, Dr. Koo. Hi, Dr. Koo. How are you? Okay, we can hear you.
I can't hear Dr. Koo. Can you hear Dr. Koo, Nicole? You might need to refresh your screen, Dr. Koo. I'm not entirely sure what's happening yet, but that fixed me.
Can you hear me
I
now?
think we fixed it.
Yes, I can
We
hear you.
can.
Yes,
Okay,
okay.
awesome.
Live is so fun. Okay,
It's
Dr.
a great time for all of
I
us.
know.
We're having so much fun with it.
Oh, it's what a
Thank you,
joy.
Dr. Koo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me again.
Again.
Yes. Let me go
Okay,
ahead and
Dr. Koo is gonna share her screen. Another reason why we do live is to reach all the people that cannot get to a conference or may not be, their children are too medically complex to get to a conference. So thank you, Dr. Koo, for being on here to give people around
absolutely.
the world access to this information.
Are you guys able to see that in full screen mode?
We will momentarily be able to see it in full screen mode, and then we will let you give the presentation.
Awesome. Let me know whenever you're ready for me.
The floor is yours, Dr. Koo, whenever you're ready.
All right, so thank you so much for having me today. So I wanted to just speak about the international collaboration on the consensus statements. And this process already started at the SDS Congress that was held in June. And so I wanted to extend this opportunity for all of our caregivers and patients with SDS an opportunity to help shape like what these upcoming consensus statements will look like. But I wanted to just give a brief overview of what they actually are and what they will entail. So first, what is a consensus statement? So it's not like a press release per se, but it's essentially a shared expert opinion and summary of the most current data and research that is available on a disease. And that can pertain to data for how to best accurately diagnose a certain disease, how to treat, and how to manage some of the complications or any of the sort of multisystemic manifestations of a disease. So why do we need a consensus statement, especially for a rare disease like Shwachman-Diamond syndrome? So as you all know, it's rare. So not everyone has encountered SDS, especially doctors who don't see it on a regular basis. So a consensus statement is a good way to help sort of disseminate the latest published research and any of the advances within a disease. And actually, Dr. Dror published the last set of consensus statements back in 2011, and that was now almost 15 years ago. And we know that there's been tons of research over the past decade or so that's really improved our understanding about some of the genetics that drive SDS and sort of the natural history and different symptoms that can arise with this disease and how to manage things like surveillance and some of the hematologic malignancies that can come with SDS as well. A consensus statement is also optimal because it helps to provide a guideline across the world to help standardize care for individuals with SDS so that all patients can benefit from the best available knowledge and treatments from the data that we have currently. Who is this for? So obviously for individuals with SDS, all caregivers, parents, loved ones of individuals who care for patients with SDS. This would act as a resource for doctors who take care of these patients and also for researchers to help identify areas where we just don't know very much about certain aspects of the disease. And so this would be a way for researchers to help guide future research down the road as well. So currently, how is the consensus statement being developed? So we have myself, Dr. Shimamura, Dr. Myers, and Dr. Reed. We are, the four of us are sort of like a core group that have helped to kind of bring together an international panel of experts who treat patients from across the world with SDS. We have almost 60 international experts from, I think, 4 different continents that treat about 500 patients with SDS who have agreed to be on this panel. So what we have done is that we've taken all of the literature that's been published from case series, case reports, any sort of trials that have included patients with SDS, and we've coalesced them together to review all that current evidence. And then what we are going to do is take that evidence and help devise a set of statements in which we would help guide what the diagnosis, treatment, and management should be for individuals with this disease. So obviously one of the things that's a little bit difficult in rare diseases like SDS is that, we don't have a lot of randomized clinical trial data because accrual for such trials would be, it would take a long time and it would be very difficult to accrue the number of patients that you would need. So a lot of the data that we have is from retrospective studies and case reports and series. And obviously you would probably understand that for practitioners who are practicing across the world, everyone does things a little bit differently. And so we are using a structured voting process to determine a level of agreement. And this methodology has actually been published widely in the literature. And so we are helping to see what areas people very strongly agree with in certain areas. And then this also helps to identify areas where all of these experts may not necessarily agree on something. And the purpose of the consensus statement is not necessarily to reach consensus or agreement at the end of the process, but so there are going to be some areas where we just won't be able to reach an agreement about a certain area or topic, and so that will be discussed in the final paper as well. And so that is something that whoever is reading those consensus statements would have to just take those areas as a grain of salt and just kind of look at that data a little bit differently as well. The purpose of this consensus statement is really to look at all aspects of SDS. And so we will be focusing on the genetics and clinical diagnosis of SDS. We will have sections on hematologic surveillance. And specifically because of trials that have enrolled patients with SDS, we will have a separate section for bone marrow transplant as well. But the other things that we will also be including are some of the other multi-organ issues. And I know that many patients do struggle with issues with GI and liver and endocrine. So many of these multi-organ issues will also be included in the consensus statement as well. So where can you find this? Our ultimate goal is to submit and publish in a peer-reviewed journal. And so that way this will be readily available as a reference to everyone. And so once published, the consensus statements can be used as a guide and an educational resource, not just for the patients and families, but also for the medical providers who are caring for individuals with SDS as well. So this, as you can imagine, trying to coordinate meetings and voting processes with almost 60 individuals will take time. So we already met in person for the experts who were able to attend the Congress back in June of this year. So we had our first initial meeting sort of to talk about the content of the consensus statement. And then we are planning to actually meet an additional 3 times over the next year. Prior to that, each of the experts are required to fill out a survey and grade and rank, like how much they agree with certain statements in the different topic areas. And then these meetings are to serve as a focus for areas that we disagree on to see if we are able to revise statements and then potentially be able to reach a consensus at the end of the entire process. So this will take about a year. So our goal is to have these published in a peer-reviewed journal, hopefully by the fall of next year is what I would imagine. Our goal is to try to submit it for review sometime in the summer of next year. So that is a goal that we're hoping to achieve as well. And that is all that I have, and I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Dr. Koo. We have the opportunity to impact the consensus now. Michelle wrote on the public chat, if you want to help participate in the live poll, text inside SDS 908 to 22333.
You also have the option, there's going to be a QR code on the screen, and that is a way that it can be found also. It will possibly take you off of the screen you are on, which is how you're watching us. So if it does that, we're going to have a poll available afterwards as well, so your voice will still be able to be heard. If it causes you any grief, don't panic and just come back to us. I'll leave this up for a couple minutes. I know when we were down in Cincinnati, it was really interesting to see all of the doctors interacting with each other and trying to learn from one another, because I think there's a lot of doctors who they know, their specialty, but may not know what SDS impacts on another specialty, and then how that then affects their specialty. And it's kind of interesting seeing all the minds meld together. I'll give it just
I'm
another
going to
second.
participate as well.
I'm going to try to participate. Let's see. I'm going to text.
Dr. Koo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Dr. Koo?
She can
Yes.
hear us. Can you hear Dr. Koo, Nicole? Maybe not. Let's see. Okay.
Yes, I could hear Dr. Koo.
Okay, and then so we will go ahead and share the poll now so everyone can see what everyone is looking at.
Dr. Koo, could you hear the comment that came in while you were presenting?
No.
Okay, let me read it one more time. 2011 was only a draft document, which does not carry the same weight as an actual consensus document. So will this be the first consensus document?
Yeah. I think
Or was that
using.
not?
Yeah, I think we are using a method that where there's actual structured voting, um, and getting an idea of what experts actually agree on for certain types of topics, like for example, when to start, if and when to get bone marrows and CBCs and things like
Yes.
that. So those are areas that we will have an idea of how much of an agreement that we have across this panel of experts. So just to kind of get into the weeds a little bit. So the method that we're using has been published a lot before. It's called the Likert scale. It's like a score of like 1 to 9, 7 to 9 being like you agree to strongly agree. And so for us to be in the consensus statement to say that we reached consensus is that 80% of the panel has to score for a certain statement a score of 7 or greater, essentially. And anything less than that, we try to discuss on multiple rounds to see if we can try to revise the statement in any way so that we can try to achieve consensus. Because obviously, we want to try to agree on things as much as we can, but so that doesn't confuse, providers or patients or families. But if we aren't really able to reach an agreement, that is something that will be kind of clearly laid out in the consensus statement as well.
Thank you so much for that explanation. Michelle has the live poll results on the screen.
I do.
Hematology, obviously overwhelming for hematology.
Yeah.
Very
Gastro,
It's kind of
yeah.
refreshing to see. Sometimes I think I would be nervous if it wasn't
Yes.
at the top there. And
Yeah.
then it looks like a lot of patients see gastroenterology, nephrology, endocrinology, a little bit less see immunology. Surprisingly, a lot see ophthalmology, which I didn't think would be a big one. Um,
Look at the dental.
Look at the dental, look at the orthopedic, look at it's
Hmm.
definitely it's just it more solidifies that this is a multi-system disorder
Yeah.
on multiple levels.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm interested what the other ones are though. If you clicked other, can you put them in the comments for us?
Thank you. Yeah.
So we can make sure that Dr. Kuhn knows that those areas need to be highlighted.
Oh, and one area this poll actually just reminded me that we should include is OB/GYN and fertility. That is actually
Yes.
a great one.
Yes.
And that is something that
Yes.
we didn't really talk about in the
Agreed.
multi-organ section.
Mhm.
So thank you for showing us these poll results because
So
that's
I
super
I
important.
That was one of the first tasks I had when I joined the foundation, was to read the consensus statement, and I reread it for this show. And I was thinking about Dr. Warren standing up at the end of Congress saying, talking about some patients that had significant uh, pregnancy issues. And so I reread it, and I did not see
Yeah.
pregnancy issues in there.
Yeah.
And actually, we had a comment, I don't see urology. And actually, that has been a huge issue for myself with my son this year.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah,
spent
that's
12 months with my son with huge urology issues, and they've concluded it's because of the pancreas issues. So thank you, Kristen, for bringing that up.
No, that's a great idea as well. So that's incredibly helpful to have
We
that.
also have a comment about physical medicine rehabilitation related to limping bone pain. I've seen bone pain and limping, I can't even tell you how many times on the support page. I don't know if
Okay.
they've ever figured out what it's from, but I've seen that so many times on the support page.
Okay. Yeah, that is also something that I don't think we specifically talked about, and so that would be also good to include as well.
I think it's consistently seen as just a growing pain, but I know it's an issue with another urology. Apparently, this urology issue is bigger than we thought. That's really interesting. Urology has actually colored a whole year of my life, and I didn't. I actually did a search on the support page and I couldn't find it, but urology is
Mhm.
becoming a bit bigger issue, I guess.
Yeah.
I
This
think
is the
you
first time.
don't
Oh,
I don't think you don't know until you know. You know, a lot
I
of
know.
families
Yeah.
at Congress came up to us and said we would have had no idea to look into neuropsych issues until you told us to look into neuropsych issues. And I was like, well, a lot of times you wouldn't think it's connected, but it really is.
Hmm.
We had a comment come in through YouTube that someone's Britannia's having a little bit of trouble over there accessing the poll, but they see bone marrow, transplant, hematology, endocrinology, nephrology, pulmonary, neuro, and GI. And I said I will make sure we make it noted.
So, Kristen wrote, we have gotten a diagnosis for his bone pain related to his hip after years, all caps, of looking for answers, limping, limping and bone pain. She wrote killing by accident. But yes, I've seen that so many times on the support page, the limping and the bone pain, a lot of times on the support page. I want to point out, this is the first time, Dr. Koo, right, that you guys have ask the public, the community, for information that you'd like to be in the consensus. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I
Yes.
think.
So thank you to the doctors from the registry and Dr. Koo, and thank you for including us, because our voice is very powerful. And you don't know, like Dr. Koo just said, they didn't think of pregnancy, but that is a huge issue. And as the
Mhm.
patients get older, new issues pop up.
And I think with pregnancy fertility, I'd like to see that it's covered from both ends of it. So older patients who may be
Mhm.
struggling with fertility, or the loss of fertility as a younger patient and medication impact on it, or just all the way around, like a whole
Yeah.
spectrum of it.
And also,
That's
male patients can have hormonal issues too. And so I think that's also important to cover as well. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, no,
Should we
these
go
are
to the next question?
sure.
let's
Let's
do
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Dr. Koo.
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm just saying these are like great suggestions, and we definitely need to be including these in the consensus guidelines.
Okay, so the next question is, what would you like to see covered in the consensus? These can be answers that you're already receiving. They can be things you maybe want to explore down the road. But what would help you if you had a document to hand to your local doctors that gave them almost like a roadmap of what they should be watching for, when they should be watching for it, and how to be watching for it? What would you feel more comfortable with? If with what knowledge would you feel more comfortable with them having? I
And just
guess.
as
Is
a
that a good way to
reminder,
word it?
yes. And just as a reminder, if you're not live with us and you're watching us on the replay on YouTube, we will have a Google form available for you to participate as well.
Absolutely. And then we'll combine all of the answers, the
Mhm.
ones that came in through the comments, the ones that came in through this, and then give that information to the doctors who are doing it. And it looks like for some reason it's only letting me click 5 choices on the second one. I don't know if I'm the only one. But if that's the case, just spam them in the comments and we'll get them logged and loaded.
Thank you guys for participating in the poll. The poll was a big issue trying to figure out how to do this live.
100%.
We got another comment, Dr. Koo, about bone pain, especially around the legs. That leg pain seems to be a
Okay.
consistent issue.
Oh, it says the poll has received the max amount of responses so that it's full. So we must have hit that limit that we have. So just go ahead and spam them in the comments then, and we will get them written down. Or if you don't want to fill that out, you can, or if you don't want to comment, I'm sorry, you can fill out the Google form afterwards. We want to make sure that everyone's voices is heard as humanly possible. But from the looks of it, everyone would like to see hematology surveillance on there and transplant guidelines and GI, which I think was overwhelming at Congress of how much GI is involved, but not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
advocated for quite as hard as hematology
Vision
issues.
eye changes. Okay, so this is where I learned stuff about my own child. I thought that was a Roman thing, but he's having a lot of eye issues lately. Interesting. Okay, so we got, I guess we reached our max, but Caitlin wrote, I couldn't click dental and fertility. Another one for urology.
Yeah, we actually have a dentist who is on our expert panel, so we definitely will be addressing some of the dental issues
Thank
in
you
the
so much,
guidelines.
Dr. Koo.
Yeah, so I know that in working with Dr. Shimamura, she's definitely mentioned that the dental issues are something that kind of are at the forefront of some of the things that our patients deal with.
Another comment that we just got. So I think knowing the sensitivity of the test from bone marrow biopsies is very important for doctors to look into. That's a good point. At
Mhm.
the 2019 SDS Day, I remember learning how sensitive those tests are and not how every location has those tests. And
Mhm.
I remember being concerned and bringing that back to our local hematologist of, do we need to
Mhm.
travel to Boston or need to travel to Cincinnati for that test? That's a
Mhm.
good point, Lisa.
Yes, and definitely, I think that maybe ties in with the hematologic surveillance. And we
Mm.
did have a discussion at the in-person meeting about, um, being wary of the test that you're sending, because not every test is the same. So we definitely will be commenting on that, and
Mhm.
making sure that you're able to kind of, in terms of the sequencing, to go as deep as you can, because some
That's
of the
what they
things,
did for our local. Yeah.
yeah. So we just want to make sure that that's also explicitly stated, so that can be of guidance to providers who don't really take care of a lot of patients with SDS.
That's what they did
I
locally for
know,
us. They lowered the threshold as low as they could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
yeah, I
definitely
think
Excellent.
bone
having that
marrow.
set of Oh, I think having that set of guidelines is important. One year we were a little lackluster in getting our registry kit, and so it didn't arrive in time, and we had them contact the registry to get what they
Mhm.
needed. But our home hospital didn't have a lot of this. They weren't called the same things. They weren't identified the same way, and so they really had to, match up as best as they could what they could
Yeah,
do. And um,
yeah, yeah. One of the things that we're hoping to really nail down in the consensus statements is also to, like, what should be included in the diagnostic studies if you're dealing with sort of like a fresh patient with a new diagnosis of SDS, and especially with the bone marrow studies, like what should be included. And then for surveillance, one of the things that we are also hoping to address, what should be included kind of going forward if you're doing regular bone marrow evaluation screening. So that's something that we are planning to hopefully include.
I didn't look for this, but I'm thinking about it as I'm looking at who's commenting. Is there anywhere in the consensus statement about testing siblings? Because I see that come up a lot about just because a sibling isn't showing any symptoms. And it seems to be, I don't know if that's in the consensus statement. I didn't look for that specifically, but testing all the siblings to make sure no one else has genetic SDS. And I've known a few situations where that's happened.
Yes, we definitely are planning to address that, especially if you've identified someone in the family that has SDS. And obviously, you know, everyone can present very differently, even within the same family. And so that will be addressed. And then also for patients with SDS who are potentially going into bone marrow transplant and you're maybe considering a sibling as a donor, then definitely we would be addressing the
Absolutely,
genetic
yeah.
contact too.
I should also mention I'm from Houston, Texas, and Michelle is in Michigan. So if you're watching internationally, we're talking a lot about US based. Like when she mentioned the bone marrow kit, that's a SDS registry, that's a North American registry. But if you're watching internationally, we order our kits when we have a bone marrow biopsy coming up. So if you have a bone marrow biopsy coming up, make sure you order your kit through the SDS registry. Jackie wrote, scoliosis is a common finding in SDS. The gait issues, limping may be possibly a result of this. That's a very good point.
Yes.
A comment came in through YouTube. I believe it's Mora. I can't scroll all the way back up. That it should be included as guidance for doctors for what to run on a bone marrow biopsy or aspirate slide. They're no longer able to get marrow followed by an expert, and the local pathologists treat the samples the same way as regular MDS, which obviously would not isn't quite possibly the same way.
Yes. Kristen wrote, who do we contact?
And Kristen, for the kits, I see your comment. Nope, you go. You got it. You were already on it.
Okay. For the kits, log on to the SDS registry, and there's a page where you fill out the form. Now, I will say, I do the show. I'm all about the registry. Sometimes Roman needs like a quicker bone marrow biopsy than I think 3 times we've needed to speed up his bone marrow biopsy. And I forget. And thank goodness there's so many of you that write me about how do I get my kit? Questions about that. And that reminds me of my own child. So go on the SDS registry website. There's a form that gets you your kit. Now, say you go see your hematologist on Friday and they want to do the biopsy on Monday. I think I had that, and they still were able to send a kit like by Saturday. And so just do it as fast as you can, and you could always reach out to us, and we could help you. That's a great question.
Absolutely. I'm trying to find the link that I can put in the comments right now.
Thank you, Michelle. So again, that's the North American Registry. So if you're watching internationally, that's the North American Registry we're talking about. But the consensus statement is going to be international. Correct, Dr. Koo? Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we have experts from Australia, Europe, Asia, and then North America.
Awesome.
So yeah, we'll have good representation.
It also might be of use to put in there how to participate in any international registries, depending on what part of the world they're located in.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So
that's what we're here for. We're here to help. We're here to get feedback.
Longitudinal data on SDS is so critical because patients change year to year. Each patient is different, and it's okay. Kristen just mentioned that she's forgot, but that's okay. Just jump back in when you can. I've struggled to get. I know all the clinical notes are sometimes not sent with all the biopsies that we send back, but just do the best you can. It's really hard when your child is seeing 13 doctors and so many therapies. Just do the best you can. That longitudinal data is so critical.
A comment came through on YouTube. Is it possible to order the kit and save it so you always have one on hand? I don't know that answer.
Question. That's
I bet we know someone who does know that answer, and I don't know that it's Dr. Koo. It might be Dr. Koo. Do you know that answer, Dr. Koo, or do we have to reach out to Dr. Myers or Dr. S?
Depending on what's in the kit, and there might be some materials that might expire, so I'm not sure it's something that can be stored long term. So
And I'm
I don't
assuming they're
know.
expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're expensive. So if everyone asked for a kit and then they were just on hold and then they forgot them. Thank you, Michelle, for that link. And if you're watching internationally,
You're
there may
welcome.
be a link for your location internationally as well, and we could be happy to find that for you.
Well, I mean, we'll do our best. I don't know that we can
Yes.
promise anything, and I will make a mental note to reach out to the registry to ask if you can hold a kit, because I think I think Dr. Ku's right. They're going to want it as fresh as possible with no
Yeah.
risk of expiration or anything in it.
Yeah.
How often should we be sending updates to the registry? Every 3 months with our blood work, or what is best? Great question.
That's a great question.
Very great
I
question.
know
I
for
feel like I can smell what our next show should be.
I know for myself, they always want the bone marrow biopsy, and then they ask for clinicals and patient notes. So I know getting everything over is sometimes complicated, even for me. I'm in a main center, like a big center, and sending it over to the registry is sometimes difficult. And it's a lot of work sometimes, but it's so worth it because, again, that longitudinal data is so critical because every patient is different. So at least the bone marrow biopsy, and then they usually send, I think annually in that kit, they'll send some questionnaires. And then the registry right now, the North American registry right now has a patient survey that they just sent out.
Yes,
Thank
and
you,
Jackie
Jackie,
just
for
put
the
in
link
the
as
email
well.
in there, and you can just shoot them an email and say, "Hi, help me, I need a kit." And then they'll say, "Okay." And then Kristen had a great comment, a couple up, that if you do your bone marrow biopsy on a Friday, you have to let the registry know, because they have to have someone in the office to receive the samples, because they have weekends off, which is nice for them.
Yes. And then they usually follow up with you. Did you actually get the biopsy? And biopsy day is such a big day for everyone. So I'm usually like, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to update you that we did do the biopsy. Do we have any more poll questions,
That's very
Michelle?
true. I don't think we do. That was
Okay.
the last of the poll
Okay.
questions. And if you missed out live because we hit our max, and then we learned that we do need actually more than 100 responses, and I will make a Google form, and I will post it in the comments of the replay shows, and then I will also probably post it on our main page if you have access to that. If you don't, there's a
That's
slide at the end for
exciting.
how to find us on all of our socials. We plan to be very funny one day when we're out of
That's exciting that we got
new
over 100 responses
yeah.
on our
I
first
appreciate
show.
everyone being here today. I know it was we did. We did. Look at us go. Um yeah. So if we don't have any more questions for Dr. Koo, we can thank her for her time, because it was not only once she joined us, it was twice, which I think is the first time we've had a guest come back to back each week. That's a first.
I think she deserves a trophy for coming back and dealing with a little bit of a delay. But
I
this was so
agree.
worth it because
I feel like we
I
should
learned a little bit about romance this time. I wasn't expecting that for our first show. That I'm like, what is going on with the eyes and the urology is a thing? Thank
No,
you
this
guys
has
for
been
always
super
What
coming.
if we
helpful.
send Dr.
So
Koo a cup? We
I
should
would
send
love
Dr. Koo a
one.
cup. I think
Okay,
I
so
think she's gonna need a cup.
we made
It's gonna be great.
cups because it wouldn't be a talk show without a cup, and so I have to show Michelle's side, and then I have a side. And thank you, Michelle, for
And
making those graphics for that.
I think it looks like us. I think it does. I think it really
It really
well,
does.
oh,
We
look
told
right there.
Dr.
There's
Koo
the
in the
art.
group
There's
that.
the artist in the comments. Part artist. It was a team effort. Very
Oh,
much a
another
and a
one about the
tiara.
eyes
Okay.
are huge.
Okay.
Another one about the eyes. I have not heard
Who
anything about
knew?
any of these conferences about the eyes. I love this show so much. Okay. Are we ready
Jackie
for our
asked which
outro?
authors
Oh,
we are not ready, because Jackie asked a very important
okay.
question.
Okay, let's
Which
go.
authors will I'm assuming will be appearing on the article for the document? If I put a word in wrong, Jackie, let me know. But which authors will appearing the article for the document?
Um, so just specific individuals, I'm assuming, is that what she's asking?
I'm not 100% positive on that.
Definitely Dr. Myers, Cass Myers, correction. Dr. Akiko Shimomura. So definitely like Dr. Ramans. We have Dr. Drawer, Dr.
Is Dr.
Algatani.
Warren on it?
Yes, he's
Dr.
definitely
Warren?
on
Yes.
it.
Okay. He's going to speak up about. If we didn't mention the pregnancy, he was going to mention the pregnancy.
Yes.
So.
He was already there. He was on it.
Who will be the authors? But yes, there's like 52 who will be authors. They're essentially a lot of the folks who spoke at the Congress as well. So many of those individuals will be listed as authors.
So the biggest brains on SDS
yes,
around the world.
There's no way we could do this without them. So
Another comment about dry eyes, and this has been a whole year for us of dry eyes. So now I'm like really wondering if this is a thing about SDS with dry eyes. Very interesting. I know they have SDS.
Do you know what we didn't put on there, Nicole?
What?
We didn't put food allergies on there.
Do you
I don't
think
know if
that's a
that's
thing?
just a you thing or if it's a more people thing, but I don't think people know until they know. We didn't
I
know that
will.
kidney issues were common until I
That
talked to
is
Dr. Myers
true.
about it, and she said, "Oh, I have so many other patients with kidney issues."
That is true. So, quick little thing about food allergies. So, my husband's family is from China. None of them have food allergies. The next generation, the first generation, 3 kids don't have food allergies. Next generation, all grandkids have food allergies, except Roman has all the food allergies. And I always just think it's like whatever, it feels like whatever genetic other things you may get just gets set on fire with SDS. And that's like my theory. I don't know if that's true, but that's a good point. I mean, food allergies are kind of common-ish, but Roman, out of all the grandkids, has the most intense food allergies. That's a good point. You don't know until you know. I did not know this eye thing was really happening. I know there's a dry mouth thing that happens with SDS, and I wonder if it's correlated with the eyes. Caitlin wrote, do we know when it will be released? That's a great question. When should we expect to find this?
Yeah, so we are planning to have like our final meeting, I think in the spring or early summer of next year. And then we will have to obviously write the paper. And then, so my goal is to have it hopefully submitted by the end of summer of next year, and then it will undergo a formal peer review process, and then with revisions that can take several months. So I'm hopeful fall to winter of next year is our ultimate goal. I just don't want this to take. We don't want to have this take an extensive amount of time. We want this to be available for our families to use. So that is our ultimate goal.
Dr. Crew, I feel like this was mentioned at Congress. You guys have to, this is like your own time to work on this. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So shout out to our doctors that are working on this on their own time to make our lives better. So thank you guys for doing that. This is not necessarily part of your, it's so important. And we thank you guys so much. I'm just always amazed how passionate SDS doctors are. Like, I know as parents or patients, like, we feel overwhelmed, but what brings me joy and helps motivate me is you guys are so passionate and so like you motivate me to keep going.
Another couple comments came in over on YouTube. Kidney and bladder issues. Do not forget diabetes, tachycardia, syncope. I think looking for any correlation between dysautonomic disorders. As someone who has POTS and EDS, I think it's connected to so many things already that it's wouldn't be crazy, I don't think. We have our work cut out for us, for sure.
Yeah, and
You just
all of this is helpful because I feel like there's such a paucity of data in certain types of issues in SDS. So I think it's important to look at some of these issues and try to use like registry data also to look at some of these
yeah.
issues that we
What was
face.
one of the first things you just mentioned, Michelle? You just mentioned what was it? One of the first things you just
Kidney,
mentioned? Do
bladder
you remember?
issues, kidney and bladder
Oh,
issues,
diabetes.
diabetes,
Mhm.
tachycardia,
I
syndrome.
I feel like because there was that diabetes study, didn't they find like 35%
Yes.
or something? Yeah, 35% or something close to that.
I believe it was high, but I don't remember the numbers. I
Yeah, I
can't
mean, there's
speak to
data
that. I'm
on
not
that
sure. I
now,
do
and
have a
that's
hard
new
question.
since yes.
I have a hard question. So, at the top of the show, Nicole and I always start with the spiel that Nicole has a genetic child and I have a clinical child. And a lot of the times, data and documents that are for SDS, it's very hard to have them apply to clinical families. Is the consensus going to come with a
Good
um,
question.
with the ability to affect clinical family, or is it going to be mostly genetic and test based? I don't know how to word it better.
Great
That's a
question.
great
Also, I
question.
understand it's a very hard question to
Yeah,
give.
it's definitely a great question, but also a difficult one because the consensus statement, the basis of it is what data is available. And unfortunately, as of right now, the majority of the data is for patients with genetically defined SDS. But, we will be addressing sort of the cohort that don't have a genetically defined, a mutation, and sort of, but still encouraging that we would still encourage, ongoing genetic testing because, there's
Yeah.
many mutations that have been discovered in the last decade that we didn't know about. So those are things that we will be explicitly stating that, most of the data that we have available is for patients with genetically defined SDS. But that doesn't mean that we're completely ignoring the clinical diagnoses and would still heavily encourage those patients to get ongoing testing as, new methodologies and new research comes out as well. So
I don't
that's sort
think
of.
that was in the original consensus about
Mhm.
finding that second gene or continuing that testing. And then I'm guessing the registry has data on, I feel like there's anecdotally, I feel like there's some minor differences
I love it.
between genetic and
I love it.
clinical. What's the matter? What's the matter?
No. I'm hearing Dr. Koo's kids run around in the background, and I can see
Oh,
that she's like nervous, like be
Sorry.
quiet, be quiet. And I just love it. I
that's
love it.
what
I
I
love
love.
it.
Oh,
I love it.
there's a kid! Yay! I love it. I love it. I
Hi.
love it. Okay,
This
normally it's my
This
kids. Okay,
is
no,
what
this
we
is what the
do.
show is about. This is what
Yes.
the show is
This is
about.
what we do.
Doctors are people too. We're people too. We're people. It's
Sorry,
okay. It's okay.
everyone.
That's what the show's about.
Don't.
It's okay. It's
It's.
okay.
Do you see the
I love
smile on
that.
my face? I'm
I
so
I am
know.
pumped for this
It's
right
so
now.
about
so.
this.
It's the
It's
Thank you
like
best.
so
as
much.
soon as they
These
shut
doctors
doors,
take the
I'm going to
time.
open it
They take their
now.
own time to do this show to give you guys
Yeah,
information. I've had a naked
Yeah.
toddler with a whale balloon before. This is amazing.
it's
But I
true.
feel like there's
It
been,
exists.
like, I feel like
We're getting a lot of heart reactions right now. I hope you know the YouTube screen is full of hearts. We
I feel
can't
like
see it
there's
here.
lung issues. Michelle, isn't there
Oh my
like more
goodness.
lung issues with the clinical
Oh my,
patients and
there are
the
so many
genetic
lung issues with
patients? Like,
clinical
that's
patients.
the thing. That's the
So
thing.
many.
So, does the registry have information of like, we see
Mm.
this more? Because I know you guys are tracking clinical patients. Like, is
Mhm.
there anything you could put in the consensus statement about we see this more with I mean, I think transplants are a big thing. Like, we don't see this as much with clinical patients. I know lung issues are more with clinical patients. Is that something that could be in the consensus statement of like we see this more with this group than this group?
Yeah,
'Cause I feel
the
like that would
difference.
help. I feel like that would help the community a lot
Yeah,
more.
definitely. The thing that would be difficult is that it's not data that's necessarily published, and so the consensus statements, what we try to sort of base a lot of our agreements or disagreements on is based on data that is there and published. And so I think that would be in a great area that we should maybe go into and try to
because there's data on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Okay, so it's a good time to, yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you, Dr. Ku. Okay, to help Dr. Ku out, should we
Okay.
roll our
We're going to help Dr. Ku out
So,
because she's doing
Dr.
so
Ku out,
amazing
okay.
right now.
No, I'm sorry.
Thank you
Okay,
so
so
much for. No, please don't be. That is the opposite of how I want you to feel right now.
Thank you to everyone who. No, what? This is normally
Yes.
us. This is amazing. We want to remind everyone this is on their own time.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you to
Ku.
everyone who participated. Huge thank you to Dr. Ku and the SDS Registry for helping us organize this show. Thank you to Greg, our behind-the-scenes tech engineer.
Yes, before we end the show, please. Before we end the show, please comment if you are a patient, parent, guardian, or support person in an SDS patient's life. If you're a support person, we would love to know more about you and how you support the patient, whether you're a grandparent, a teacher, a therapist, or maybe even their doctor. We've had this show sent to other people's doctors and therapists, and it's very cool to see the reach that it's had. This show is not just for patients and families. We want this show to be helpful to anyone who ever needs to hear this information.
You can find our shows on YouTube. Reminder, this is intended to build a resource library for you when you need it. Maybe you need to watch this multiple times. Maybe you need to watch this later. But the bigger thing is you know where to find the information.
Yes, and part of our mission for this show is to let you know that you're still allowed to smile. Your self-care is very critical. It's not just self-care that you need to have. It's radical self-care. It's radically taking care of yourselves. We hope to leave you with something to smile about after every show. In some weeks, it may be good news from the community, maybe a funny affirmation from a patient, a caretaker, or a doctor. Some weeks, it may be 3 tips to thrive with SDS.
Today we have my friend Joe. Joe was one of the first adult patients, the first adult patient I found. I talked to him after my son Roman was diagnosed. He graciously answered a million questions, and he has since become a very dear friend. We call him Super Joe. He's so amazing.
Yes, don't forget to follow us on all the platforms that you can log on to see our live shows from Facebook or YouTube or live broadcasts. The replays can be found on YouTube and also on our Facebook page. Follow us on your preferred social media to get updates, and we hope you enjoy these wise words. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, hello. I'm Joe. I live in North Carolina. I may have a rare genetic mutation, but I am definitely the limited edition.